do we really need all that data that we gather? This is the question that we want to go about today. And there's another aspect that I want to touch briefly today, which is the narrative or the storytelling part in the act of gathering data and presenting that data for making decisions. Let's take a look at it. There are many different categories of leaders out there, but there are three particular examples that might give you an idea how people use data in daily life, in daily business to make decisions. There are those who want as much hard data as possible to make a decision. And this is understandable. There's some people who is very quantitative oriented, and as they are very happy, very satisfied when they have as much data as possible to make the decisions. There's people who just want to have enough data to support or reject the hypothesis, their ideas, the beliefs they have. They just need that very minimum required amount of data to be able to make those decisions. And then there are those who wants to have a mix of quantitative data, anecdotal data, and qualitative data to make the decisions. So they want to have a mix, a bag of all this information. They want to know what the numbers are, they want to know what the opinions are, and they also want to have a couple of case studies to focus, to frame the decision in the real world. Again, everyone has different mechanisms of making decisions. There's no really right and wrong. The only way to really know if the way you're making a decision is correct is by repeating again and again the decision-making process and seeing what kind of outcomes are you getting out of it. However, there are 4 questions that all managers can ask that will help you a lot in making the right decisions about how to deal with data. Let's take a look at them. The first question is, are we getting the data that is valuable out there, or are we getting the data that is necessary to solve the problem at hand? This is a really important question, and it's actually split in 2 parts. The first one is that you need to begin the data collection process by asking the right questions. What is the problem you're trying to solve? Once that you realize what is the problem you want to solve, you want to focus on collecting the information, collecting the data that is going to address those questions that you want to answer. So again, going back to the original question, think about if you're using the data that is available, or are you using the data that you need to address the problems you're dealing with. The second important question that every manager has to ask is this data really giving me story? The story is critical, and many people who come from an analytical background might think, well, storytelling is not that important, but you have to realize that you have to present those results to other people. So in the process of presenting the data, you have to realize that fragments of data by itself don't tell the story. So as a manager, as a decision maker, you have to think first about the story you want to tell and then bring together the pieces that tell the story. Now, you have to realize that you have to remain objective. You have to remain objective, but still you have to come up with a story that supports the objectives that you have and the objectives the organization must reach. Another important aspect of the process of data collection is if this data is descriptive or this data is predictive. Now, this is a really important distinction that you have to make on data, because some data will describe what just happened in the future or what happened right now, and that's good to know what the state of the business. You want to be able to optimize certain things, but you also want to be able to know what will happen in the future, and for that you need predictive data. Now, the data that you might use to make predictions may be the same that will describe the current state, but doesn't necessarily have to be the same. So depending on the business case that you are in, you have to really think about it. Usually data that might help you to look into the future is data that is going to help you to understand what is the mechanism of the things that are happening right now. So to recap, keep in mind that there might be two different kinds of data. So it's your data telling you what is happening right now or what happened yesterday, or is this data capable of making predictions and telling you what is going to happen in the future? In case of doubt, try to look for information that is going to help you to look forward. Finally, you want to have a good combination of qualitative and quantitative information. Quantitative information is going to give you how much of the things you have, how long it takes to produce this, how much it cost, how much it was sold. However, you also need to have the qualitative information, why it's sold, how people like this, understand what people feel about this product.